No matter what you do, Benny, no matter what you
Benny
do,
boy,
you will never, ever, ever get that chip off your shoulder. You will still be the little wiener in the locker room that nobody wanted to play.
Shoved into the locker.
Exactly. You can never no matter what you do and how much money you throw at it, you will still be.
But Jen, have you not seen that I can actually grow a beard now? Have you not seen that?
That is not a beard. That looks like shit on your face from your fucking head up Netanyahu's ass. That's what that looks like. You looks like you got something on it there, Benny. You might want to take a wipe.
We at Daily Wire, we trust you at TPUSA to do it. I mean, that's really the answer. We're willing to provide, and we are providing any level of material support, any level of support on the ground, boots on the ground, helping you to do what Charlie would have wanted to be done here. And I think that the reason that everybody trusted Charlie, the reason we're all mourning Charlie, is because nobody did it better. You spelled out two of Charlie's goals. You said, he wanted to bring people back to Christ and bring people back to church and back to biblical values. And he wanted to keep the MAGA coalition together.
And expand it.
And
he wanted to bring people back to church. And so you think that your Jewish ass should be replacing him? You know who you are, Ben? No, this is Ben Shapiro, to me, is like how I thought of LBJ when Kennedy was assassinated, like in that mindset. Like, I always wonder who has the most to gain from a scenario? Who is going to be the one that can win when something like that happens? Who wins the most? And if it looks like it's this guy, then I find it very unlikely that it was just a coincidence that it landed in his lap. So you're being the LBJ to JFK, and it's not a good look.
Agreed.
Expand it. And the question is how you do that. And the answer is you focus on the first, and the second is a byproduct. Okay, the answer is that, as Matt says, you have to unite around something. And yeah, we can unite in the short term around the fact that there are a bunch of people who hate our guts and want to murder us, which of course is true. But long term,
yeah, we do hate your guts, Ben. But it has nothing to do with you being Jewish. It's because you're a piece of shit.
I will personally we should all make our mission in life to make sure that you do get sent to The Hague. We hate you and want to eliminate you because you are a mass murderer of at least 700,000 people now. You, as much as anyone in this country, has stood on the soapbox with a megaphone saying, Israel, Israel, Israel. So yes, but I'm not sure that even Michael Knowles or Matt Walsh feel the way that you do. They want your money because they're grifters just like you are. The vultures are picking at Charlie's corpse. That is a fact.
Unity, big movement change, which is what Charlie was really trying to drive, and why he went to talk to people who disagree, is about building around those core values. And so the long-term vision, we'll have our petty squabbles, and some of those squabbles will be more than petty, but the long-term vision has to be built around those original biblical conservative values that Charlie stood for, things like the Bible, things like free markets, things like family, all those things are things Charlie.
I didn't know that the free market was in the Bible. I mean, that's news to me. But as a supporter of the free market, I did not know that.
I assure you that people that really care about the teachings of Jesus are not interested in your free market theories. That's what I think.
God, he makes it so easy to hate you.
Jesus is not a capitalist, okay?
If you want to know why anti-Jewish hatred exists, I don't know if he's Exhibit A, but man, he is pretty close.
He stood for, you got to build the coalition around values, because we can't build it around the man, but we can build it around the values that he left behind and that he spent his entire life fighting for. And
what would those values be? What would those values be, Peter? Teaching everybody that it's okay to kick down, encouraging people to hate the other, preaching that Black women are not bright enough to somehow be able to be on a competitive level for anything having to require intelligence. He was a hateful bigot. And the truth is, so is Ben. So is Ben. So it's really no different. He just has the fake mustache beard thing and wears the yarmulke.
And I always say, always be skeptical of emasculated men who have power. They are very dangerous because they, again, much like Hillary Clinton wanted to prove that she could warmonger as much as anyone who's ever stepped foot in the Oval Office or the U.S. Senate, let me assure you, somebody like Ben Shapiro, he gets off on killing innocent people. I'm telling you, especially Palestinians. Oh, he celebrates it. I don't know if everybody else does, but he in particular is an evil little weasel who never got properly put in his place. But hey, if he keeps this up, if he starts to be the one who starts funding Turning Point USA, he will crush TPUSA in the process. So have at it, Benny. Have at it, Benny boy. You do it. Please take it over. It won't. You can't imagine how fast it will crumble if he does.
Frankly, more honored to join you guys as much as we can in the fight.
Thank you for that, and thank you for donating the Daily Wire $1 million. Breaking news on this show.
So there you have it. That is why he's there. That is why he's talking. They don't really want to have him there, I am sure. But in the end, money talks, justice walks. He has got all the money you could possibly want, coming from Israel, coming from every alphabet agency in the United States. I mean, for God's sake, could it be more obvious? And let me let everybody know that Ben Shapiro gave us $1 million. And there's plenty more. And that's plenty more where that came from, guys. Just remember, I'm in control now, right? I'm in control, right?
Thank you guys for honoring Charlie so well today. God bless you.
God bless you. Well, with the fucking bagpipes, too. Talk about desecrating a person's memory. Not to say that, we're here to celebrate it, but for God's sake, it's like you said, a bunch of vultures picking at his dead corpse. That's what they're doing. Could it be more obvious? We have one more very important story to cover, as you know. And that, of course, is the person who has chosen, well, I'm not going to say that she chose death, but she has certainly chosen to dance with the devil in the pale moonlight because she has just got zero fucks to give. And whether you like Candace Owens or not, she is willing to defy every single roadblock, warning sign that comes her way. I do believe in part because she was very good friends with Charlie.
Yeah, that's a pretty decent. Again, we are not supporters of Candace Owens. I generally disagreed with her up until her stance on Palestine. I don't think I've ever agreed with her on anything. So I'm not a fan. But she was friends with Charlie. They were friends. So she has credibility in this.
Netanyahu in that phone call, what took place was a couple of weeks ago before Charlie lost his life. Charlie was in the Hamptons. He had essentially what was staged, an intervention was staged by Bill Ackman because Charlie's rational thoughts about Israel were a no-no. This is not the route that you should be going on. And Charlie was surrounded by his friends, his quote unquote friends. Bill Ackman was very upset and threats were made. He was asked to dispute this narrative. Max Blumenthal went out to him today and Bill Ackman came back and said, I have receipts I can show you. And he did not provide the receipts. It was...
If you have proof that you did not have a squabble and that everything was copacetic between you and Charlie Kirk, Bill Ackman, I would think you would probably want to produce that evidence. Because a lot of people are starting to look at you now as a possible suspect in his assassination. Now, I know you think you're above the law, not just because you're a billionaire, but you're a Zionist billionaire and believe that you are in a protected class. And let's be fair, he probably is. But in the court of public opinion, I think a lot of people are very suspicious of Bill Ackman and what he may or may not have been doing as far as this, whatever you want to call it. But this was a systemic execution of a very influential member of the independent media circuit. In fact, as influential as probably anybody. He's right there with Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson. Charlie Kirk would be considered one of the three. In terms of anybody who's truly America first, we all know Ben Shapiro certainly has the platform, but he's Israel first. And that distinction is being made very clear every day, that there is a distinction between those that are American conservative and those that are neoconservative. There is a difference. And it's pretty clear now that things are going to come to a head sooner rather than later. And I think Jen would agree, even though Jen, I guess, got bounced, but hopefully she'll come back. There is no question that the future lies with a major political and economic shift. And judging by the way that Candace has been conducting business as of late, I would have to imagine that she may be in a bunker right now, just kind of living underground, not putting herself in harm's way. And Lord knows they'd like to get to her if they could, because she's got a lot to say, and she is slowly but surely revealing the truth about what's going on. She's got more to say.
At this time that Bibi Netanyahu was called and Charlie was invited to Israel, this was an under duress situation, I would say. And I know that Charlie was offered a ton of money in this moment. Turning Point, I guess, if it needed to go to a higher level, would have gone to an even higher level than it already was at. And I know for a fact that Charlie denied that funding, that Charlie denied, and what Bibi didn't include there, he declined to go to Israel for, I would describe this as like, re-education camp. We've seen it. You made an uh-oh, but we can help you. Another person that was there, and I am not surprised this person was there if you've been listening to my show, Seth Dillon. I said, any comment on this one, Seth? You didn't answer last night.
It has been reported that the amount of money that Netanyahu offered Charlie Kirk was in excess of $150 million. And if he still said no, granted, he already had a lot of money to begin with, but when you can't bribe somebody like that with that amount of money, you got nowhere to go, pal.
Okay, so this is what I was saying before. I think I got disconnected for some reason. I'm not sure why, but what I was saying is they got Charlie Kirk when he was a teenager. They basically started grooming him into the Zionist fray when his brain wasn't even fully developed. So the fact that he then dared to now question the hand that feeds him is a big problem. But a big part of it is that that's what they do. They get people very young for their programming and indoctrination. That's what happens. So that's why, he was what, 17, 18?
He was 17, 18 years old when he got started with Turning Point USA.
Exactly. And they saw somebody in him that they could use that would be a good spokesperson for them and would do their bidding. And the minute that he grew up, now you're talking however many years later, 12, 13 years later, and he doesn't want to do that anymore. And now that's what happens.
This morning I said, need a comment ASAP, please. He didn't answer. Then I followed that up and I said, trying again here, you were present when Ackman lost his mind on Charlie and when Bibi invited him to Israel and Charlie refused. Text messages immediately following this meeting are circulating. I find Ackman's statement, as though the meeting was somehow cordial, to be incredibly disturbing. Are you at all disturbed by that tweet? Do you feel, as I do, that this tweet significantly betrays the defined purpose and mood of his, and I presume your, final meeting with Charlie Kirk? ? He was unable to speak to me, but he did place some frantic calls to Turning Point USA. Yeah. You see, I went out to Seth, but I also went out to two other people who were at this meeting, and nobody is willing to go on record. They're all messaging each other, trying to figure out a coordinated response to say that, no, this was all quite cordial, but no one wants to go on record and describe it as cordial because they know someone's leaking, because someone's got a guilty conscience about what happened at the Hamptons.
I mean, look, there's definitely valid points people are making in terms of like that she has lied about stuff in the past, or she hasn't, you know, that I don't know. But this seems to be, this is where she's in line with what is most likely true, right? Like, I mean, it's just all reasonable fingers will point to the Zio state. It's just what makes the most sense.
What should come as no surprise to anybody is that you have channels out there that are wall-to-wall coverage. Wall-to-wall coverage. The Shit Libs, Conservative Inc., they're just talking about the alleged assassin and whether they can define that person as a loony leftist or a Groyper rightist.
It's irrelevant.
Irrelevant.
It's irrelevant.
Irrelevant.